Eagles guy.
Yeah, thanks.
Are you feeling great?
Thanks, Wiles.
Kind of sort.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So Philly looks the best they've ever looked under Nick Sirianni. They look better than they looked the year they made the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
What, they won 13 that year?
13 sounds right. They were, Jalen, and they won him early because Jalen was the MVP front runner briefly. But I think this team looks better because of who they are amazingly on both sides of the ball. And we can show you their ranks quickly like they are. I did not see this defensive turnaround coming at all. And I know Brew had optimism that Fangio would make an impact. I don't think any of us thought they could be in the argument for the best defense in football. And they're in.
I thought they'd be good.
Right. And I didn't think they'd be good. Instead, they're objectively great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you have, in my opinion, the MVP of the league in Saquon Barkley. Another thing I certainly didn't see coming. Brew thought it was possible. I did not. Then you also add to it, sadly, this part of football, those Lions injuries are potentially mounting to a level that it's unsustainable. And then you have what they did yesterday, which I didn't think they were going to be able to do. Because the Ravens at home, against an NFC team.
Oh, my goodness.
And what did they do?
There's some shenanigans.
Brew, they went to Baltimore. They put their feet up. And Brew, you know what they said? Chris Broussard, bring me a sandwich. And in fact, it wasn't just a sandwich they wanted.
It was a
Philly cheesesteak.
Oh.
And Philly, as Nick Sirianni explained it.
Is that beer?
They're not a soda pop and chips type of guy. They're a get me a summer brew, to wash down this delicious cheesesteak that I'm about to eat in your house.
Do you get
what's up?
Just quickly,
What's up?
I thought you got the hometown delicacy. You didn't bring your hometown.
They sent them to Philly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Said,
God.
get on the Acela and bring me a cheesesteak. And so,
you just getting sloppy
with that
with it.
said,
my sandwiches are neatly packaged.
It's not a sandwich. It's a cheesesteak.
The whole nine.
And so, Brew, I'm just telling you.
It's fair. They did.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed by Philadelphia.
No chips, though.
Cheese on my mouth.
They did. Look, you know my saying. Sometimes everybody has to be able to make a sandwich. You're not going to hear me rip the Eagles. Obviously, I have believed in the Eagles. I think that's really beer.
Yes, it is.
Well, that might be an FCC violation. It's a summer brew. Summer brew's NA, so it's okay. Go ahead.
This is the team I said months ago was the absolute best team in the NFC East, bar none.
Oh, NFC East.
NFC East, yes.
Everyone taking credit for the Eagles?
No, I'm just saying. Nick had to say it. He believed in Fangio. He believed in Saquon.
Yeah. Just couldn't quite believe enough.
But I'm going to give him props. I remember I said when the Ravens lost to the Steelers had a blueprint.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's foolproof, but a blueprint to stop Lamar. Rush 4. If you can get pressure with 4, that means you have 7 back to guard the receivers and if he scrambles. That's what they did. They sacked him 3 times. He had been sacked 3 times in the last 3 games. He's only been sacked 3 times once this season before yesterday, Cleveland, which they lost. So they were able to get pressure with that great defensive front now on Lamar, and his receivers weren't open. And he missed some passes, there's no doubt. But I want to give Philly credit for that, number 1. All right, and then number 2, they wore down, to your point, they went into the Ravens' house. I got to be objective. They went into the Ravens' house, and over time, just like the Ravens want to do with Derrick Henry, because you saw in the fourth quarter, Saquon couldn't get much going.
And then
fourth quarter gets 65 yards because they gradually wore that defense down. I think the defense we'll get to the Ravens, but somewhat worn down because deflated by the missed field goals. The offense wasn't really getting anything going, and that can deflate your.
Okay. Just stop. Oh my God. Can we ever just look at a game objectively? I mean, my goodness. Right, the defense was deflated, and that's why, and they just wore them down. Okay. That was not a wore down type of game. The Eagles wore down other teams in the past, whether it be the Commanders, whether it be the Rams, that's actually not how this game unfolded, okay? If you actually watched the game and understood how this all unfolded, you would see that it wasn't just wearing down with the offensive line, and that's why Saquon Barkley was able to pop. That's not what happened, okay? That's not what happened. It was because of Kellen Moore's offense. That's how it happened. It was because an actually great, it's okay to say this, guys. It's okay to give credit to the coaching staff and the roster and say that the Eagles just had a great game plan. Okay? The way how they stuck, the passing game was not working as well as they wanted it to. And honestly, in the beginning, neither was the run game. But they strategically used the pass, especially to A.J. Brown, to open up the field, which then set up Saquon Barkley for some big runs and some key runs, which then was this kind of feedback loop, which then kind of fed back to the passing game, having Jalen Hurts have his own designed runs. And again, even Romo pointed out that they were learning throughout the game of what they need to do. This wasn't just a wearing them down type of offense. That's not how this game unfolded. This was above the shoulders, okay? This was all brain stuff. This was high IQ, high level football. It's okay to admit that about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's okay. People are going to be okay. And they want to talk about who takes credit for saying that the Eagles will be good. None of them. Me. It was me. The answer was me. And when the Eagles lost to the Falcons and to the Bucks, I said, guys, everyone relax. Everyone relax. This is death by 1,000 paper cuts. Things are a lot better than they seem. And I got ripped. Every single week I got ripped and ripped and ripped. So it is pretty funny. It is pretty funny to see everyone try to say that I said, and I'm not even going to do a victory lap here because there's no reason for it, truly. But everyone's trying to take credit for this, and it's just it's kind of crazy how slow people are to understand that the Eagles are an incredibly highly run franchise that are consistently a top contender. But for some reason, they only want to give that crown to obviously the Chiefs because they're winning Super Bowls, but the Ravens, the Bills, the Bengals for a little bit, and except for obviously with Burrow getting injured, the 49ers. But for some reason, not a lot of people ever really want to give that to the Philadelphia Eagles, which is why I say in many videos that since 2000, the Philadelphia Eagles are have the third most playoff wins in the NFL. So you could see this miles away. To think that the decisions that the Eagles were making in the offseason going into this season was not going to improve them. To think that all of a suddenly, they were not going to be able to draft and build a better team or get better defensively. That they were all of a sudden just going to keep hiring bad coaches, bad coordinators. That was never going to fix itself out. Okay, so what was really impressive about this performance was the roster, the team, which I've talked about at length now. But give some credit to Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni out there, man. Nick Sirianni has this team believing in themselves. Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore has this team paying attention to the details, to executing, to doing what needs to be done. This has been the definition of a team effort. You could see on the sidelines, I talked about this in my, in the Herd video. You saw the defense on the sidelines. They're all talking to each other, looking at the tablet. They are their level of communication is just through the roof, man. They are this connected team. Every game for them is like they're having like a sleepover in elementary school, man. Like they are just in it. Nothing else exists but what is happening to them on that team, on that field. It's amazing to see. It is high-level football. High-level connected football. And again, it jumps off the screen. We can point out some of these great plays and this, that, which I will as well. But like, again, this was just a high-level display of football. And their numbers weren't even amazing. Because you can look at some of the numbers of what the Ravens, where they had more first downs, more total plays, time of possession. But when you actually look at the execution, when you look at the tackle on Derrick Henry, the containment of Derrick Henry overall, the containment of Lamar Jackson. We know Lamar Jackson feasts against the NFC. Before his final minute drive, which obviously means nothing, he was 19 for 30, 206 yards, 6.9 yards per attempt, 3 sacks for 31 yards, a 94 rating, and 1 touchdown. That would all be significantly lower than what he normally does against the NFC. The Eagles defense stepped up. Derrick Henry, 19 carries for 82 yards. You never really felt that offense was going. So again, we can blame some missed field goals, which absolutely contribute, undeniably. I'm not going to deny that. But to say that the missed field goals now made the Ravens defense deflated? What? Oh my God. That's absurd. It was the Eagles defense why Jalen Hurts hit Dallas Goedert on that beautiful throw to convert that 3rd and long. Just a gorgeous throw that Romo pointed out. Was it the deflated defense that then had Jalen Hurts run up the middle to convert for a first down and then to hand the ball off to Saquon strategically, systematically, dissecting that defense? Or was it great execution, great play calling, and great play design? Yeah, that's what it was. Was Derrick Henry deflated? And that's why Cooper DeJean just smashed him? I mean, like, come on, man. What are we saying here? The rally tackling, Jalen Carter. Come on. That was just a really great game for so many different ways. We've seen the Eagles win very convincingly. We've seen the Eagles win a close game against a team that was probably, inferior by a large margin. And we've seen the Eagles obviously lose to teams that were inferior to them. And we haven't seen the Eagles win I know the score is not representative of how this game felt, but again, you can't deny the Ravens had more first downs, more total plays, more total yards, and more time of possession. Like those are real things. But to have the Eagles win this game when things were not going their way in the early on, and in a way that felt like, oh no, and again, against a quarterback like a Lamar Jackson and a running back like Derrick Henry, in the beginning of this game, you could have easily seen this game go, the Ravens are winning this game 28-3 or something, 28-10. Like it easily could have had that feeling, easily. But to see the Eagles lock down on defense and what they give up again until that final touchdown, what was it, 3 points or something, in from the 3 quarters on? I mean, it was pretty remarkable, really remarkable. We had not seen that from the Eagles this year. So that is just high level. And again, it wasn't just because they wore down the Ravens. That's not real analysis. The Eagles have undeniably worn down other teams. That's not how this game unfolded. This was not just brute force and physicality. This was a well-coached team with an awesome game plan that adapted throughout the game. Beautifully called by Kellen Moore. Vic Fangio absolutely had a game plan against Lamar Jackson, attacked it, executed, and had the players that Howie Roseman drafted, built, signed, and it was complete. And Nick Sirianni had this team ready to play, ready to ball. They looked like they were ready to take on the Ravens. The Ravens looked like they were like, oh my God, we have a game. It's like the Home Alone team, and they're like, oh my God, we slept in. And they're all like rushing to get to the airport. That's the difference between a team having a culture and believing in themselves and whatever the heck the Ravens got going. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and the mad dash to take credit for who said it first? Who said that they were going to be good? Were you impressed by Philly's performance? Did you think that this was more about the Ravens not playing good enough? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.